Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time to spill more reality on all things RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. The Tournament of All-Stars might be over, but that doesn't mean we won't have more tea to spill about this season and the future of Drag Race, so make sure you like and subscribe as you're not going to want to miss a single drop of future content. On this podcast, we're going to talk about the season finale, the Smackdown for the crown, and our newest queen to enter the All-Stars Hall of Fame. But before we begin, I can't do this without my co-host, and we're lucky that his breasts are small and humble, so we don't confuse them with mountains. It's Quacker Jack. Jack, let's go ahead and let's start out by congratulating our newest crown queen, Miss Ginger Minj. Congratulations, Ginger.
Congratulations, Ginger.
Yeah, so if you didn't know that, by the way, spoiler alert, she did win. And why are you even watching a finale podcast at this point in time? So, yeah, we're gonna kind of analyze her journey a little bit later here. But, Jack, I want to talk a little bit more overall here, now that we've had a little bit more time to kind of rest and reflect on the season. And even though I think this was the outcome we all kind of expected here, did this season finale help or hurt your overall impression of the season overall here?
I don't know if the finale necessarily changed it. It's more like we were expecting it, but I guess if I had to, I mean, it was negative, right? We all agree it was negative. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. I mean, overall, like I think we're looking at IMDb right now. It has like a 2.3 overall rating, which means this is the lowest ranked episode of Drag Race ever. Um, I think it's safe to say no one is happy with this result here. And it's just kind of crazy, like the direction this season really turned in the second half. It's something I kind of talked about preseason, where I think, getting such like a late introduction to Ginger in the purple bracket after we've had like fan favorites established in the first two brackets in like Bosco and Irene and Lydia. Then you add like Ginger to the mix with all of this obvious and unnecessary production favoritism that she doesn't even need. It's literally like this perfect storm to just send the fan base on the warpath against her. And as much as I hate to say that I have to agree, I do have to agree with them because other seasons have felt like they've cast specifically for certain queens to have an advantage, like Shay in season 5 of All Stars or Jimbo in season 8, but they didn't necessarily give them a production advantage in the challenges per se to make sure that they got to the end, right? Or we could look at like other queens that they probably gave advantage to as far as favoritism in the competition, like maybe like a Jinx in All Star 7 or Angeria All Stars 9 in the finales for both of them. But this really feels like the first time where we've had them not only give the favorite in the competition like favoritism, or sorry, give this production favorite favoritism within the competition, but also cast it in a way that just makes it seem so obvious what the result is going to be. I feel like that's really what this is kind of coming down to. Like we've had instances in the past, but this is just so egregious. I don't know really where to kind of go with it. And I feel like the fan base is kind of fed up. What are your kind of thoughts on this overall? And do you kind of agree with me on this is maybe where everybody's heads are at on this?
I agree that there's way too much favoritism, and it's clearly was set up for her to win, and that she didn't need it, and that's the really big thing is like she really didn't need it. But like to win, she could have just won automatically. She didn't. And the whole like lip sync thing, like Ginger's not known for her good lip syncs either. So it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, and I think there's one thing I disagree with you on. It's just I'm not sure if this season is actually worse or on the same level as some of the other seasons. I specifically like All Stars 8, All Stars 7, All Star. Honestly, All Stars 7 through 10 have just been kind of like womp 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 to me in terms of like it's just so overly produced. Like it's so bad that a queen on All Star 7 literally was going to walk out and they had to force like a change in what was going to happen in the storyline so that way the queen would literally stay there. We had queens literally quit on other seasons and I think this is part of it. I think it's just it's not just production being favoritism, it's also just like what's the point of showing up if I'm going to spend this money? You're never going to give me a win and you're just gonna make me look like a damn fool on this TV show kind of thing. Like, yeah, the fans are probably gonna tell you how good you are, how robbed you were, and we saw people get robbed this season. And then even with the twists, it's like they never matter. When it's
Hmm.
supposed to shake things up and keep things going, it just doesn't seem to matter. So the whole thing does kind of get that way. But I would say that this season is very bad. I'm not sure if it's the worst, but it's definitely up there.
Mhm. Well, I would think the orange and pink brackets alone definitely save this from being one of the worst seasons of All Stars for me. It's just the ending here is going to sour this, I think, for everybody here. And it's not even because Ginger didn't deserve it. You're right. She could have done this on her own. They didn't need to do what they did to get to this point. And that's the unfortunate part, I think, about all of this. But, kind of maybe talking about production advantages here. I wanted to go and kind of start maybe where this all goes awry here. So let's take it back to the start of this episode here. And I want to talk about our lottery returnee, Miss Kerri Colby, because she returns to the
Right.
competition. If you remember, three nominations were made, and their balls were put into the little spinner thing. Bruno picked one out. We had a chance between two balls with Kerri Colby's name on it, one with Mistress, and Kerri Colby was the one that was chosen to come back to the competition, which again feels very confusing to me because again like they could have given her her flowers in at least the rusical, because if they would have done that she would have gotten the points probably to be pushed through from Nicole and from Tina. So it's just a situation where it's like, why are we trying to have her come back now when we kind of never gave her anything to begin with, kind of thing. And let's also be real. Like, if this person that they brought back didn't even win a challenge like Denali or Tina did, just saying, I just don't see there's any way that this person even stands a chance here. So, was Carrie the girl you were expecting?
100%. I definitely thought Kerri was going to get through because they needed someone who can't really lip sync that well to get Ginger through some of the rounds. And that's not like me trying to shade Kerri, but Kerri is not known for being great in her lip syncs. If you look at her record, it's very shaky. It's not exactly positive. Nothing she's ever done has been like, oh my god, this is like amazing in a lip sync. It's just kind of like she's pretty, she does some good stuff, but she's just there. And out of the girls, like they couldn't bring back Mistress because that's too much of a challenge. Denali would have, swiped some of them girls bald. And when we look at Tina, we know she can lip sync. Even if you don't like her, you know she can lip sync.
Right. So it's like at this point, what other options do we have here, right? Like, really, what other options can we possibly have?
Right.
Um,
And I think another big thing is like it was just such a sham. It's like it's so boring when you're just gonna make it a sham. Just say you're what you want to do. Like don't even everyone was joking about how did Ross know that Mistress was gonna be eliminated to pick, and I don't think that's the issue so much as it should have been because who knows how long between those two things it was filmed or if at all, right? But my biggest issue was still like, why are you letting all the judges like pick a different person and two of them pick Carrie? There's no fucking way. There's no
mhm.
way. Like even if you said, okay, so Mistress has had opportunities, she was in the bottom twice, which she wasn't, but like let's go with their narrative that they gave us, right? You could say, okay, so maybe Mistress isn't worth it. But at what point do you say, you know what, Carrie was that girl? It was like, was she? You never gave her a win. You saw Tina do well extremely the whole time. You saw Denali do well in two challenges, like and get a win as well as like Tina. So it doesn't make sense. You could have brought back someone else who you knew when lip sync as well if you wanted. Like they could have just put Nicole Page Brooks up there, for example. No hate to her. Just like they would have been like, there's no chance she's gonna win. It's just like a fun little thing to bring back or put her in the lottery, quote unquote. That was never really a lottery.
Yeah, it didn't just, it kind of felt like the twist was kind of pointless. Let's be real. But we kind of, you said that earlier, the twists don't matter. But I know. if you feel some type of way about that, then I know you felt some type of way about this whole format for the lip sync SmackDown for the crown because we learned that the queens are going to be using Rate a Queen to rank each other based on their lip sync assassin threat level, with the girl they think that is best is number one and the worst is number seven. But I want to call shenanigans here because we never really see how these girls end up ranking each other, and it's to know that they're going to be put in these brackets based off of how they're initially ranked. Like that was a question I think that we had here. Like, how are they going to put these in the brackets? Are they going to do like a traditional style bracket like they did there and put one against eight, two against seven, etc., etc.? Or are they going to do maybe like one versus two, three versus four, five versus six? Is number one going to just be able to pick whoever they want to go against? Number two after that, etc. Number three, like we didn't know, and I don't think they knew either because there was specific points there where they seemed very shocked on the format of how things were going to go down there. And at the same time though too, I want to know what the votes were because unless these girls self-sabotaged, to me, this order made no sense whatsoever. And it's possible they could have self-sabotaged themselves this much to the point where, these ended up where they were, but there was like one queen in particular that was like there is no way she could have ranked that
Yeah,
well.
we all know who it
But
is.
like we'll talk about her in a second when we get to it, but I'm just like there's just I don't believe it. And maybe that's just me being, a conspiracy theorist and whatnot here, but there's just so much about the show now that we know is produced, and it's just one of those things. It's like I wouldn't put it past production to just okay, well, oh, you're rating each other. Well, we're gonna use this as our opportunity to put each other who we want to because we literally, I think we like queen for queen, like predicted who they were probably going to put each other against, which was
Yeah.
kind of crazy to me. Um, am I wrong to have these conspiracy theories, Jack, or is this stuff that you're thinking as well?
No, we all knew it was going to happen, right? So what did we say last time? We're going to have Ginger against not Lydia. I'm sorry, Ginger against Kerri Colby at some point. Whoever comes back is going to be the wild card. They're either going to make it to the second round and be beaten by Ginger, or they're going to be beaten in the first round, kind of thing. So we have that immediately. And then we go to the end of the bracket, and somehow Lydia is second, right? We find out that Irene padded some numbers, she was trying this stuff, and maybe she had her good Judy's also do that for her. That's totally possible. This one could make sense, right? Which could make sense as to how Jorgeous ended up in third place. Those three made sense.
Hmm.
What didn't make sense was that Aja somehow got all the way to sixth. Bosco
Right.
and Daya being at 4 and 5, respectively, is fine. That's not anything crazy. And at that point, we were like, okay, so these are the matchups. And they technically didn't tell anyone what the matchups were, but come on, we all knew. And the worst part of it all was like, not only is the girl who has the disadvantage not going to get to pick the song or whatever, they always gave it to the girl who was the fan favorite to win the lip sync. Like, technically, Daya, I think, was fourth and Bosco was fifth. But let's be real. We all knew Bosco was moving on, regardless of who she was against. We all knew George was moving on. We all knew Ginger. The only one that we didn't technically know was the Lydia versus Irene thing. Not that we knew it was going to be that way completely, but it came down to like whatever. We just need someone to be there to get to the next round so then they can lose.
Did you like this ranking format compared to how they usually do it? Because I feel like I would rather them just kind of do it the way that they usually did. Um, but at the same time, though, too, the disadvantage to that is that we never actually see what is in that hopper ever. They never show us. And even if they did, like I don't know if I would trust production to not just put the same queen's name on all the balls. Like it's just
Right.
one of these things where it's just I have no trust with them anymore. They've broken my
There is no
trust. They're
trust.
a cheating
There is no
girlfriend,
trust.
boyfriend, a significant other at this point, I don't
Yeah.
trust you. So I'm like, I will always check your phone at this point. I will always make sure that you're not DMing anybody. I make sure you have no apps on that you're not supposed to. Like that's how I feel about production at this point.
Yeah, I guess it
So it's just
was
like
the only other thing I kind of
right,
have written
like
here before we
it's
get to
something
like the
here.
main
Like I
stage
think
stuff
maybe
was
when they had the wheel,
they get the reading
it felt a
challenges
little more
episode, which I
genuine.
thought was
For some
actually a
reasons, it
really
feels
good
harder.
mood
Like
lifter
I know there's
for
ways
the
that you
most
can do it.
part.
It feels
I
harder
thought
just to
they
read a
did
wheel,
really
right?
good. Like this was, I think,
Versus
one of the
like
best
Yeah,
reading
and
challenges that
you
we've
could
had in a
take
long
the wheel
time.
spin like a million
Um,
times, right? Like that's
Possibly to
definitely
get best
the
like
result you wanted.
collective one,
But
like
the
maybe like a
hopper
top
was just
five.
like, girl, we never
I
saw
don't
you
know.
put the
Everybody
walls
had
in.
some
Oh
really
yeah,
good
it was good. You
reads
could
for
have
sure.
cut like yeah, it was really really good. I
I
wish
mean,
shocked
there were
because
times where
I
yeah,
know
it was
that
kind
everyone
of
else
very
knows
weirdly
that
like when
we
he
have
was
not always
making
had the best who was coming out
reading
back
challenges
into the
recently.
competition.
Everyone
And it's not just
knew
the
that that
U.S.
was really
version.
weird,
There's been
and we
some
were like,
rough
that
ones all
was
throughout. That's pointed at
global,
you, especially down
especially.
under,
like
where
it
Global
just
was
feels like
rough.
production
Global
is
I'll
just like
understand
nope,
because the
we've
girls
given
don't
up
all
on
know
the
each other
illusion of
at least. That one's
fairness.
a little
And I think
more
that's a big
understandable, right?
issue
And
with
some of the
this
girls like not
finale
being able
is
to
that
really,
there's
having to
no
try to
illusion
figure
that
out
this
how
is
to
fair
do their reads in
anymore. Like
English and
it's
stuff
just
because it's not
very
their native
clearly set up
language, and
in
like
one
like their
girl's
primary
favor
language, I should
here.
say. Sorry,
And
primary
again,
language,
like you said as well,
and so
every
that's like
single
somewhat
person
understandable.
that got their name drawn for the Hopper
But
got to pick the song, and
when
then
down
they
under, when they
also
had the challenge and no one won
surprise
it, so they
won
gave
to lip sync.
it to the pit
So
crew. That
like
was
it's
crazy.
just I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah, down
Not weird,
under
but like
is definitely an
it's
experience.
You're
cringy.
But
right. It's cringy,
did
but one
anybody
other thing that
kind
I think
of
is really
stand out here
important to
as a
note
favorite
about
here? Because I
this
think Bosco ended up
is not
winning,
only did
and I
they
think I do agree with
win the
that
lip sync
because
and
she
these
had
things happened, it was
some pretty
like
hilarious ones, like when she told
the
Mistress
songs that
that
were
she brags
chosen
about
were
driving her
decent,
Mercedes
so it could have
because
gone
she
anyway,
also too would brag
but it
about her
just
home
felt
being
so
so beautiful.
rigged
And
for everything
what was the other
that
one where she said that
happened
Jorgeous
that
needs to
it
rename
was
her
like it's
throat
not
the
only that I don't
orphanage.
trust you, but
that
season
was
15
maybe that
when
was
they
my
first
favorite
introduced
of the
or season
of them all.
16, right? They
So I
first
wasn't surprised she
introduced
won,
Rita
but
Queen.
were you surprised she
They
won?
didn't
And
show
if
that
not,
drop,
did
and
you have
then
anybody
I'm
else
not
that you
surprised.
thought were
Hey, we
better?
want to see the results. So season 17, I'm not surprised she won. I think a lot of the girls did well. I think Ginger did pretty well for the most part. There was that one joke that was like a little too long for me. And people, it's like the girls thought it was over and it wasn't. Cause drama at the I was like, we could have condensed that a little bit. Why would they get mad at each other? That's not what this is about. No one did a bad job. Let's see the drama. Everyone was funny on the stage, and totally fine to just like say, hey, these people were. Who knows what we didn't see? So I just wish I want to see all the bloopers or the other reels. I want to see all the girls sing. I don't really care about who wins or not. I just want to. Well, as long as it's a girl who actually did well. But I want to know what else was said because I love that shit. I love chopping the
Yeah, they
girls
could have
up
done a
kind of thing. Like
flashback
not
easily
not
to like
officially,
just
but
even give the
like
numbers of
when
where
I'm with
the
my
queens
friends,
were
we
at
love to
that
talk
point,
shit. So
right?
like
Just
I
kind
want
of
to
like
see it
even
too.
a side screen like they did with the
Yeah,
queens,
that would be
like
one of
here
the
you go,
ones I'd
here's
be
your
fine with them
ratings,
extending
and
like
you
a
just show
lot
number.
longer,
Like that would have made
personally.
sense.
It would have been
Yeah, I
easy to
think
just be
everybody did
like,
well.
these are the
So,
seven scores you got
but yeah,
added together. You got this number, and we go off based on the number that you got. Like the person with the least amount of points, like 1 point for one, would be the top person, and that's how we. Which is also the weird thing, like Ginger being first. Okay, let's say Ginger's first because the girls felt she had the most likelihood to win. That's fine. That's fine. So her being first there's fine. But we were all like, Ginger first on a lip sync ability? Okay. I think we were all a little questioning that.
Yeah, I mean, I took that to probably be like they did it just based off of like the biggest threat in the competition, because I mean she wasn't all three, she won two, so one of them
Yeah.
I don't agree with, but like I get it, but at the same time though too, I do think this is a situation where had they known that, the first person basically got to pick every single song and got to be in the best position because they have the easiest path forward since they get to go against the worst person in each of the groups that are, the worst ranked person in each of the groups statistically. Um, like I think they probably would have done something a little bit different here. Um, and something else I wish they would have done a little different here, Jack, as well here too. And before we get to the specific performances I want to talk about here is why was there no Miss Congeniality and why was there no grand finale runway here? I'm very perplexed by this decision to not do one last look or not even have a Miss Congeniality here. Feels like a missed opportunity.
I think that they really just wanted to get to that 12 episode quota and they were like, we have to end it here. They didn't really have a great idea. They were like, let's do this whole lip sync Smackdown thing at the end, which is just a weird way at 8 people. Weird, right? Um, and I kind of think that they just didn't really know what they were going to do. in terms of making sure that this happened. They didn't want to give people a finale runway, even though we know there was time between the group stage and the uh, when they come back for the merge, quote unquote. And what's the strangest thing to me is like we probably should have done the wild card then,
Hmm.
at the merge, but like 2 episodes before for the merge, that's stupid. That's
Yeah,
stupid.
there's a lot of
So
just formatting here. This is dumb.
yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that means there will be no yes or mess this week here, but I did want to give Bosco a quick shout out because I thought she looked amazing in SmackDown this week. I thought she looked really good. But also just a short reminder here as well and because I want to talk about something runway this week, we'll officially be determining the best looks of the season in the polls coming up this week. So make sure you get your votes in. But based off of your votes here, uh, the best look apparently is coming down to Bosco's entrance look, Lydia's Wild Wild West look, Denali's Paper Dolls look, or either Irene's re-entrance look, her Tear Me a Suit look, or Bosco's Foiled Again look. Jack, I do have to ask you, what is your favorite look on the season? Is it one of these looks, or do you have another nominee for best look?
Oh my gosh, I really wish you had asked me this earlier so I could have prepared
I
because there were
did.
so many good
I told
looks.
you what we were talking about.
I don't agree.
Not my
Your
fault you didn't
Honor,
listen.
I don't agree. I think Irene's foiled again is a really, 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 really high for me, right? Like, I just think there was something amazing about that look specifically that really got me. Also,
Mhm.
her tear me away. You know what? It's probably gonna end up just being it's one of Irene's like it's one of Irene's. It's between tearaway and probably foiled. She's just her drag is so smart and it's so fun to look at. Even if you go back to the group stages, like she had so many good statement pieces.
Mhm.
It's God, it was honestly like a dream come true for anyone who enjoys the runway. It's a dream come true for us.
I feel that. I mean, I was gonna say Irene's foil again. I was really just, I don't know if it's just recency bias or whatnot, but I'm like, I really like this look. But I do have to actually, I do think my favorite look of the season might be Bosco's entrance look. I think that she just made such a statement with this look, and it's just something we haven't seen on the stage. It's so fashion forward. It's so cool. And like now, this is what I feel like whenever I think of Bosco. This is like between this and her foiled again. These are going to be like the two, I guess, things that are going to first come to mind here when I think of Bosco. So yeah, I feel like that entrance look has been giving me life since the season started, and still to this date, it's still held up here. So I do think that's probably my look of the season here. But let's talk golden boots really quick because I've narrowed down to three. You can tell me if I'm wrong here. But I think the three worst looks I think that we've seen this season are Deja Sky's makeover, Nicole Page Brook from Atlanta, Georgia's 8 Ball Runway Eleganza, and Cuckoo's Remission Fiesta Paper Doll. Do you agree? And are any of these your golden boot for the season? Because I think one of these are definitely mine.
Um, you know what? No, I can't agree because I didn't think Deja's makeover look was that bad to be in the bottom three. It wouldn't make my bottom three at least. But I can definitely tell you that uh, I think Cynthia's might be my golden boot. But like, yeah. I guess I can agree with the other two. I
Mhm.
mean, I
It's
don't
not
know.
that Deja's is bad. It's just clearly not like we've had how many seasons of makeovers, and that. You brought that.
I didn't
I'm
even think
just
hers was the worst makeover look. I'm gonna be
uh,
honest with you.
uh. I'm sorry. It made me mad. But no, I do think Cuckoo's as much as Nicole Page looks her how bad she looks in this. She made it in the workroom. So I'm like, I have to give
Yeah.
her benefit of the doubt. I feel like for that because it's not like La Ree levels of bad.
I mean, yeah. Like
Cuckoo's
Deja
is
Sky's
bad.
Yeah, Deja Sky's like makeover look is bad, but we've seen so many worse makeover looks that I kind of am like, I don't even want to. it's like I don't want to talk about it because it's just not about this season. But I I kind of view the makeover look sometimes as you got to do with what you got. And I don't know if this was the actual look or if she had something else prepared, but it was bad. It was very, very bad. But I think there's just so many bad looks that I could pull from this season that I don't want to. I don't want to use it as a makeover one, you know, and especially and same thing with Nicole Page Brooks. Look, I don't want to give it to a made look while you were there because that's kind of unfair too, right? So I
I
think it
mean, in
definitely.
certain circumstances, like Lalaurie, that was just unforgettable and unforgivable as well too. But like in
Well,
this
she had nothing to
situation,
put
like
on.
it's not as terrible because I feel like a lot of it's the material she was given, like the fact she had to
Mhm.
use all eight, and like none of the things that she was given really like went together, and it gave nothing but All Stars one, mean me I'm first. But like, yeah, I think it has to be Cuckoo. I think she has to
It,
get it.
you know what it was for this? She didn't even transform any of the materials. Is the biggest issue. She literally just put them on as they were, and that is unacceptable. Like that's just bad. That like it's bad during a design challenge, but it's even worse when you do it like this. It just is.
It's bad when you bring something like that. Like I don't know if her initial thing got damaged or whatnot. She hasn't said anything about it, but like,
She
oof,
showed us her
oof.
full look or what it was supposed to be, whatever. But I don't care if it was damaged or not. I would have gone out in what it looked like if she had at the time. So I don't believe that she did. Unless someone can confirm that and like show me the picture. Like I don't know. It's just this was unforgivable in every single way, shape, and form, and it made me very upset that the girls had the audacity to push her through to the top nine. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna get
you
mad
know what?
again.
Let's go ahead and get into the Smackdown here because we learned the list of songs, and honestly, I was kind of underwhelmed. I know you kind of mentioned it earlier here, but like nothing to me jumped out at me as like that lip sync song. Like Party Lights is fine. I like whenever, but it's not like really a song I would consider for a lip sync SmackDown. I feel like when you're not like prepared for it, kind of thing.
They were
It feels
prepared.
like a very well, like I mean, like for it to be like a like that song specifically. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Like I feel like
I
there's certain gags and
disagree.
stuff I would use specifically for that. I think Jorgeous did the best she could with it. We'll get into it later. But it's just a lot of these are very like mid-tempo songs ish. They don't really give me the same energy of like some other great lip sync songs. So there wasn't anything I was
I
really like, I need. But
I disagree like a lot with that personally. I think we had a lot of good songs to choose from, and honestly, I my least favorite song up there was "Disease" by Lady Gaga, and I know that's unacceptable for me to say, but it's true.
wow.
The girls are, they all wanted to do it, so good for them. It's not my kind of a song that I wanted to see anyone do, so it was my least favorite song of the song choices, but I truly think all the other songs were really good. Joyride was really fun. I think Wherever Whenever, that one is amazing. Like I have a completely different opinion on that than you do, and I thought that was crazy that you even said like she did what she could with that. Show Me How You Burlesque. It that was like our kind of theatery song, I guess, in a way. Party Lights was good. Raise Your Glass is very simple. So I don't think there was any bad song in this thing. And I don't know. I feel like it was more so how the songs were distributed, you know?
Okay. I mean, like, teach their own. I'm not saying that any of these songs are bad. Like I said, I just don't think that a lot of them give me the first choice that I would have for lip sync energy. But we can go and we can get into the performances here, and we can start off here with the first performance of the night, which ended up being Ginger Minj versus Kerri Colby. Ginger Minj got her ball drawn, shock, shock, surprise, surprise, and picks "Disease" by Lady Gaga, which I actually do think was kind of a surprise. I was not expecting Ginger to pick this song, and they both kind of went like the monster route. And I do think Kerri started off strong for me. a little kind of campy, but it showed me she wasn't afraid to get, a little ugly. But there's also something about the way that she did it that I'm still not sure if I believed it 100%. Like I was trying to kind of get into it, but there was still like an air of like cheese kind of to it. Like she didn't fully believe it 100% herself, but like she was trying, and I enjoyed that. But some of her reveals as well too, I think they were a little weirdly timed, and I don't like the fact necessarily that they brought up the fact that she kept her hair in, because I do like the fact that she was like, okay, like in round two, I'm gonna need something to do, but I do think that she probably should have probably did it, because I don't know if the energy she gave clearly was enough. Clearly it wasn't. Whereas Ginger, she kind of went in a kind of a different route. She did kind of take it a little bit more like it was camp, but it was more like a serious, like there was more of a serious side to it. Like I saw her like really kind of trying to be sexy. I don't know if I really liked either of the performances per se, but like I think that has more to do with just the fact that neither of them went like they both try to do like the spooky, ooky Halloweenness to it, which is fine. But I do think there's a world where maybe someone plays it a little more seriously, kind of thing, and it doesn't read the same kind of campy feel to it. But um, I do think Ginger, for me, was stronger. I mean, she was trying to do things. It was like when she did her little knee thing. I was like, okay, Ginger, like okay, you're trying. Like you're trying. I'll give you it. I don't think Kerri did enough for me to overcome her coming back into the competition to say that this is like a good enough lip sync for her to say that she won here. I guess is my opinion. And also don't get why she threw off one glove. That confused me. But Jack, what were your thoughts here on this first one?
Baby, it was a double chop. Sashay away, both of you. I was done. Honestly, the thing that I think, and people are saying Carrie ate Ginger up, but I don't think that. I don't think that either of them ate up much of anything.
They
The
both have
plate was still
diseases.
there. The, there was really nothing off that plate. What I will say is that I guess Ginger's performance was closer to the meaning of the song in terms of like facing your fear and talking about the darkness or whatever inside. Sure. Carrie's was just a Carrie lacks stage presence and like really grabbing your attention. The reason we're grabbing the attention to Carrie is because we've seen Ginger do this lip sync 1,000 times. We're
Hmm.
hoping for Carrie to step it up and do something because this was her moment. This is her first time to lip sync this season, right? Ginger has lip synced 7 other times, right? At this point, it feels like they're like, whatever. Um, Carrie she never really captured our full attention. She didn't have her face on us. She wasn't really looking and making that connection, and I think that's what did it in for her. But honestly, a double chop and Ginger winning is fine because they were already planning on giving that to her. But Carrie it was so funny because of course she comes in for 5 minutes and is immediately out and leaves. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So Ginger wins and moves on. Great, love that.
That was hilarious. She just comes right back in and is out 2 seconds later. We love it.
It was a
We love
revolving
it.
door, baby. It was the revolving door effect.
I mean, it's been a while since we've had a revolving door, since we've had a girl come in, come back out. So, yeah, I think we were all kind of expecting that. So, I mean, no surprise there. Our second lip sync, turns out rating number two was Lydia, which I was a little surprised by that they stuck her up this far just because she had apparently done a SmackDown before it, but again, like I said, Irene kind of also pushed her up as well here too, and her plan worked out. So she faced off against Lydia, but I not sure if she expected necessarily to get this song. Maybe she did because it looked like Irene had kind of tried to like practice a little bit more. They get Joyride by Kesha, and this was a little messy for me from Irene's perspective because I think Lydia just kind of does what she kind of usually does is kind of just being high energy, and she had her prop she was playing with, so she was very much so in her element, just kind of having fun. Where Irene kind of went wrong for me, and it's something that I think she did last week with her talent show. Is this need to do a little too much to the point where it reads a little desperate. And a lot of her moves she was were doing felt like she didn't necessarily have like felt like she just learned a lot of those things that she was trying to do towards the end. They didn't feel like things that she had like done before in prior performances. It felt like she was like, okay, I need to really work on my lip sync capabilities. Someone teach me something. And she practiced it a few times. She's like, all right, I'm good. But maybe it was like a couple weeks before this versus like maybe like a year or so for her to have time to practice it because it was a little messy. So like you have Lydia just kind of doing her thing versus Irene, who I think started strong and then just kind of towards the end. Yeah, I do see why Lydia won this one, which kind of breaks my heart because I was really rooting for Irene here. But Jack, did you kind of feel the same way here?
A little bit. It was clear that Lydia was going to be taking the win as soon as she got to pick the song, right? But with Irene, I felt like Irene was really giving me the good energy at first. And what I think might have happened is I think Irene is more aware than a lot of these other girls are about things. And maybe she started to notice how the judges were so focused and fixated on Lydia's performance. And I think something to talk about that is Lydia was in front of her the whole time, right? Lydia got in front of the stage, basically stayed there the whole time, and we were just like kind of forced to look at Lydia, even when we were looking at Irene. There was a lot of times where Lydia was still in that Irene shot, unless they were doing close up. And I think Irene started to realize that, and she's like, "Okay, now let me pull out a trick or something, or do something fun," because she had pretty good reveal times, and I really enjoyed what she did here. And she really looked like Kesha at first, like doing it. I was like, "Is that Kesha in that face paint girl?" Like, I thought her hair was matching directly for the song. I was like, "Okay, let me see this. What's gonna happen?" And I think Irene started to do that thing that a lot of girls do, and they're like, "Let me do a stunt, let me do a trick, see what I can do." And she started to lose the really interacting with the song. And then the biggest downfall of them all, on top of starting to fall out of really connecting to the Joyride song, she does this flip and then she falls by slipping on something that's on the stage, and she did not recover from that. You could see she was desperate to do anything to like bring it back. But after that, the girls were not even looking at her. They did not care. If she had fallen but then put her wig back on, she probably would have been fine. But, they fall off at the same time.
I know, right? Just not let it,
Unfortunately,
don't let it affect you, and you'll be fine. You're good.
so well, she wasn't going to be for this. But she did a good job. Some unfortunate things happened here, and you pick the song, you get the win basically. And so
Yeah.
Lydia goes on, but I don't think Lydia's. This is where it's different for me. I don't think Lydia did that great in this song. I was kind of like, you're doing your normal thing. I didn't. I felt like Joyride was supposed to be a little bit more chaotic than what she did, but Lydia clearly wins this lip sync, and it's definitely no one's getting sashayed away from this. Well, I mean, someone's gonna lose, but I'm not double sashaying away like that mess I saw in the first part.
Right, right. I almost could have just gotten rid of everybody in the first lip sync and just let both of them stay. But that means, unfortunately, Irene, the alien, is eliminated here, and we move on to lip sync number 3, which is a Jorgeous, who gets placed in third, and she faces off against Aja, which again, I think we were both just kind of like, what? Why is Aja in sixth? I am still confused by that, but Jorgeous
Well,
gets
production.
yeah, it's very clearly production at this point. I just don't see any other reason why. Like I was literally telling you, I was like, I don't see any other way how Aja gets eliminated unless she's goes up against Jorgeous, because like there's just no
Right.
way. There's just no way. And a shock, she's going up against Jorgeous, and Jorgeous gets to pick the song, and she picks "Party Lights" by Natalie Cole, which I think if we go back to season 14, we can really see that Georges has a love for kind of like, older school music. And she definitely is a Texas queen, as we know, and they definitely love their old school drag. So, like, this was right up Georges's alley to do. And I do feel like as much as Aja was keeping up, one, I felt like her reveals were a little messy. Like she
Definitely,
looked really
definitely did.
good at certain points, but like there were also points while she was taking things off where she just didn't look as good,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
hmm
And the
And
other thing is, it just the song didn't vibe. She didn't have like Georges has an uncanny performance ability to the fact that like any song you give Georges is gonna feel. I think unless it's like a rock
really
song for
good
the
at
most part, she embodies a lot. She's really good at it. She doesn't necessarily. She still kind of is a little blank in the face at certain points. I do. There's certain things I think she could really learn from Georges, or not Georges, from Ginger. As far as like it really being expressive in the face, and I think if she got those down, she would be just no one would be able to touch her. But as far as everything goes here, like this is not really like an Aja song. Like Aja is very much so like I would say probably like 1990, maybe some 1980s, but probably like 1990, and on. Like there's a vibe I think Aja doesn't connect with fully on in this type of era of music, where George is just kind of like I said, I feel like George can do anything. So this is I kind of where I feel like it was very smart for George to pick this song, knowing that this isn't something that really this isn't a ballroom track, you know. So I get it. I get why George just won here, but I still just call shenanigans as to why this was all in to begin with, you know.
okay, so I think Aja could have done this like real easily personally. I don't think it was like terrible or anything. I just think that she had it in the beginning. I totally believed everything that she was giving me. I really was 100% like, oh, I'm on for this. Like, I believed her when she was in her nun outfit and when she took off her head and the headpiece and the neck piece collar thing. I was like, okay, yeah, she's feeling it. Like, she's giving me the soul that I need for this. I'm totally fine with all of it, right? But then at some point, and maybe it's during the reveal specifically, where she starts to really lose it and lose like the song together. And she's not really in that vibe anymore. Like, this is a song from what, like the 70s, and this is like, it's really like kind of disco-y era thing, so you think she'd be fine to some extent, right? And it just, something went wrong. I don't know if maybe she just got out of it or if it was the reveal going wrong. It just she fell out of the song. And I think Jorgeous did a good job. But at first I will say I do think Aja was more in tune with the song than Jorgeous was. But at some point it really did flip. And then it was like, well, Jorgeous is just going to win this one, you know?
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate because Aja is a great lip syncer. But again, we all knew this was going to happen. We all knew that Jorgeous was going to continue on. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that Jorgeous is moving on. I think she deserves this win. It was just something we were all expecting, right? And we saw that Aja was clearly used as or I should say, Jorgeous was clearly used as the like Aja assassin in this case. So that happened, unfortunately. It was a great lip sync though. Uh,
Yeah, I'd go back to this one.
yeah, it's not a bad lip sync at all. It's pretty good. It was good energy from both of them at the same time. Like I wasn't bored at any point. There was a couple weird moments, but like nothing was like this is terrible.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. But sadly, unfortunately, that means Aja is eliminated, and that takes us to our next lip sync, our final one of the first round, and that only leaves Daya, Betty, and Bosco. And like you said earlier, Bosco got to choose the song, even though Daya was the higher ranked girl, and obviously she's going to choose a song about burlesque, and um, you could already kind of tell Daya was not in a kind of good space to be here because she was clearly feeling emotional about everything to begin with, but you could tell that like I couldn't tell if Bosco was very much more stoic, so I couldn't tell if she was feeling some type of way or not. I think she was, but I do think that she was like, okay, I'm here for business, and I'm sorry, Daya, but like it is what it is, you know. But I do think for me, Bosco did nail this lip sync with a asterisk, and that asterisk is the fact that those fans saved her. Like I felt an energy from her that was kind of very slowly draining throughout the lip sync. Like this is something that was an issue for her, I think, during season 14, where she just doesn't read like I kind of like a Kerri Colby thing. Like she doesn't have the same stage presence, and I think once she like if she doesn't have a prop or something to rely on, and she's just being by herself, which I think we see later here, I don't think she's as strong. I think she's someone that she feels more confident with props, which good on her. I was not expecting the headpiece to turn into the fans. Like I was literally not at all. Like that kind of gagged me. Um, but and she definitely used them the best that she could. But had she not had those, I do think she would have lost because Daya sold the song for me so hard. Like she was feeling the song despite not having like the same sort of reveals that Bosco did. Like I just feel like Bosco did have higher highs, so yeah, that's probably why she moved on. But I see a world here where Daya could have moved on here, like no joke. So I like this to me was the lip sync that was the closest. I do think this might have been another one of my another one I'll probably go back to because I think they both did a great job. But yeah, I do think that where Bosco was kind of losing steam towards the end, Daya could have picked it up and could have won. And I wouldn't disagree if you said that she should have won here. So that's coming from me. And apparently I hate Diabetes Jack. So
Yeah, you're definitely not a fan of Diabetic.
I don't hate her as
But,
much as you think I do.
well, you're definitely more critical of her than some other girls. But what I want to say about this is Daya didn't lose this lip sync. That's the first point. Daya did not lose this lip sync. Whether you believe anything or not, like, there was like a whole 15 seconds of which we got to see like 3 frames of Daya near the end, and we get to see anything she did for like the
Hmm.
last part because they were just trying to focus on Bosco because they were really trying to sell us that Bosco won this. Bosco didn't win this lip sync, and I'm not saying that from like a fan point of like I love Diabetti or whatever. Like yes, I like Daya more than I like Bosco. I like them both, but the thing is with Diabetti, she we were expecting Bosco's gonna kick this out of the park and Diabetti's gonna do her best to keep up, right? The moment the song starts, I was like, okay, let's see it. Daya starts giving us the energy of the song, and Bosco gives us some decent energy too, right? It's very subpar for what I was expecting of Bosco in a burlesque song, right? And that's slightly unfair to expect that from her. So I say, okay, let's see like what happens. Let me not try to put that bias on you. Let me pull back on that. And I'm like, okay, so we're starting off pretty strong. Daya comes out with a cigarette and she is just serving that girl at the club. And I was like, wait a second, Daya. Are you going to beat Bosco at Show Me How You Burlesque? And Daya just kept this energy up. She was so much fun during this lip sync. And Bosco kind of stayed in the same spot most of the lip sync. It was kind of boring. No, it wasn't kind of boring. It was boring. Whether you enjoyed Bosco or not, that is a subjective thing. But
Hmm.
Bosco did not give the energy. She relied completely on stunts. And no one can argue that point. If she did not have the stunt of the fans to do things, she wouldn't have made it anywhere in this lip sync. That's facts.
Oh, I agree.
That's the most subjective thing possible here. But what was crazy was that Daya was in this song the whole time. And she was ready. She made it work for her. She probably didn't want this lip sync song. Yet somehow she transformed her own like style into this and it worked. It completely worked. She sold me on the song the whole time that whenever they would go to her, she was given it. I was like, "Oh, she's telling us about burlesque. She's doing a little dance number here." I was like, "Oh, she's like here performing." And I said earlier and I'm going to repeat it now. They straight up cut her out of like the last 15 seconds of that lip sync for the most part. They gave us 3 frames of her here or there just to, say, "Oh, she was there." But Bosco did not win this lip sync in the slightest, and I was like, that's crazy that Bosco lost this lip sync. But I was like, you know what? Bosco doesn't have a good track record when it comes to Lollapaloozas. So no, it's not that crazy actually. And what we see is Bosco moving on due to the favoritism of setting up exactly how they want it. You know, they had one girl from each group that they were really pushing, and this is that moment. So Daya gets the loss even though she won, and I was like, that's crazy. This was also my second favorite lip sync of the whole bracket. I'll get in my first when we get there, but this was by far my second favorite. I was like, I
Oh, was it on
I
this episode?
yeah, yeah. Of the
Oh,
bracket, of this bracket.
oh, okay. I thought you meant of the season.
No, no, no. Of the seven lip syncs, this was number two in my judgment.
Okay.
This was number two.
I get that. I think this is would be yeah. This is my number two of the night for sure. There was one I replayed like 3 or 4 times during the episode, and we'll definitely talk about when we get to it. It wasn't this one. I do think you're a little harsh on Bosco, but I do understand and your feelings. I get why you would think Diabetes won here. So, like I said, I'm not even gonna fight you on that. I do see it, and I do understand the reasoning why, but I do think just the gag that she had those fans is the reveal, as far as I'm concerned, was I think the reason why she ended up winning, which is
And that
both
is,
a good and bad
oh,
thing, because like
it's
you
a
shouldn't
terrible
rely on
thing.
stunts, you shouldn't at all, but also like I do have to ask you, were you expecting those to turn into fans? Because I was not expecting that to turn into fans
I
at
was
all.
expecting her to have something. I wasn't sure if she was going to go the route of laying on her like coat and doing a sexy like that, or what was going to happen with this headpiece. So I was like, there's no way you bring this huge headpiece to a Lollapalooza, right? Like, unless the songs are all going to be like standing there giving us emotion the whole time, which you know it's not going to be. I was like, what is this headpiece for? And I was like, something's wrong with it, you know? Like, she's going to take this off and either have a reveal or something. I didn't expect necessarily the fans, but I knew it was going to be some kind of a reveal.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it was cool that she brought out the fans, but after she brought out the fans and just did some fun stuff with it, it wasn't even the same realm of like Coco Montrese versus Alyssa Edwards, you know, on season five. When she does that with her outfit, it's like, oh, she's feeling the song, she's in it, we're killing it. This was just like, I have fans and now I'm going to do it to this song that's
hmm,
supposed to be about burlesque. And so these fans are very burlesque and I'm doing burlesque, but it still wasn't connecting fully with the song for me. And I was like, that's a little strange.
I don't blame you for that opinion. Like I said, I do disagree. I do think Bosco won by a hair, but like I said, I do see the argument here for Daya. This was easily the closest one of the night for me.
Oh,
Uh,
easily.
but let's go and get to their first one of the semifinals because I was a little gagged uh, I think she was too, when Bosco was sitting there on stage after hearing the results for the last one, only to realize that, oh, hey, you're going to be immediately lip sync again. And you're also going to be lip syncing against the number one person in the bracket, Ginger Minj, which I think she immediately, like, I think you see her face just immediately, just like, she not only gets deflated, but I think she gets defeated, like, immediately. Especially when she learns that Ginger gets to pick the song, surprise, surprise. And of the two left, she picks Raise Your Glass by Pink, which I am a fan of Pink on occasion, but I
Loved,
don't like this song. I used to
loved
like it. I don't know if I feel it as much, but yeah, I think this was the worst lip sync of the night here for me, just because I don't know
Oh,
if Bosco
that's
knew what to
crazy.
do. Bosco seemed very just uh, disconnected from all of it. Like she was trying, but it wasn't working for me. Ginger was kind of just giving me Ginger, which is fine. Ginger's good at giving me Ginger. That's what she does. It's what she's done in every lip sync. So it's just a situation is the person that she's with going to rise to the occasion and do something that is stronger than like the most basic of Ginger performances? Not at all. Bosco had no idea what to do with the song, I think, at all whatsoever, and I wasn't feeling it. And I also don't even feel like they showed Bosco very much. Like every time there was same thing with Daya. Like this is the point I feel like in the night where it comes very apparent that the editors just don't care anymore, and they literally give every single like big phrase or moment in the song to the girl that ends up winning, and they definitely did that here for Ginger. And I am not saying Ginger won just because of that. Like that wasn't an edit thing. Like Bosco lost this one, like for sure. It was just one of those things where it's just like, okay, it's becoming very clear that y'all are just going to just edit this however you. I mean, that's how they always do. But like, it, again, we should not be aware that that's how this is happening. Like during the season 16 Lollapalooza, did we ever get that feeling? I think throughout it, no. Megami got to the end on her own, which nobody was expecting, and it's just one of those things. It's like I don't think we're ever gonna get a Megami moment from one of these lip sync Smackdowns now. It's the same thing that kind of happened where the first time with Sasha Velour with the roses kind of thing. Like I don't think they're ever gonna give us an organic SmackDown. But I guess it's organic if we're saying that Daya lost the first one, then yeah, Bosco loses this one. Like, for sure.
So this was very messy by Bosco. She started off like 2 seconds in, fine. And I do mean fine. That is the nicest I can really be about that. She was in the song there. And from there, it took a complete nosedive. There was no energy. She really wasn't doing much. She had one little joke about the panel kind of thing, and that was the only other moment that I remember from her that even made me want to look at the screen when she was on it. When Ginger was doing it, she knew the whole song. Ginger knew the song. She was actually doing the song, even if it wasn't that good. Let's be real. Ginger's version of the song was 10 million times better than Bosco's, and that's non-debatable. The editing wasn't as bad as it was during the Bosco and Daya thing. I've seen people talk about that. I watched it again. Bosco had a couple moments, and honestly, I don't blame the editors because what she was doing, BB, I wasn't even tipping. Like, I've seen the local girls who do way better than that. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't talk about the local girls very nicely here,
Ooh,
but we have
it,
some girls, and we have some girls who literally will stand there the whole time and do the same exact performance every single week up on them stages. And I'm like, I enjoy that you have a number that you're going to do, but when you do the same thing every week, it's annoying, right? Like,
there was like a
so,
situation where it felt like she was kind of doing like a power ballad, right? Where she kept like reaching her hand out and like doing like something I would think
girl,
like expect like an Mariah Carey like hero thing I'm reaching out for something. I'm like, girl, let's
no,
raise your glass. Like this is supposed to be a
no.
fight song. Like what are
Any
you
kind
doing?
of
What are you
the
doing?
you using the word power about Bosco in any way, shape, or form without the
Mm,
did not at first. It was
no,
like,
I'm not saying that she was giving. I'm saying that
oh,
she
I
was
know you
giving
said
me.
power ballad, and
She
I
was
was like, I
trying to give
know.
power ballad. I'm not saying she was doing
She
a
wasn't
power
even doing
ballad.
power ballad.
I'm
She wasn't even
saying
doing
that she
ballads.
was
She wasn't doing
trying.
sad ballads. She wasn't doing anything. She did literally nothing. And I know she came off this other lip sync, and maybe she was a little tired. She had like a minute between them, right?
Right.
But raise your glass is literally you're at the bar and you're just like pumping your fist kind of thing is all the energy I need pretty much from you, which is kind of what Ginger gave us. And I was like, this is the easy, let's keep it 100%. This song is the easiest song of all 7 songs tonight to do. There is no ifs, ands, or
Yes, but
buts.
it's not a good song.
You don't like the song, but the song is literally like raise your glass. It's a fine lip sync song. You can do this. And the thing
Mm,
was,
it's a fun karaoke song, but it's not a fine lip sync song. I think there's a
Ginger was hitting
difference.
every single note, every single
I
word,
don't know. I don't
every
want to talk
single
about this lip sync that much. Like
look.
this lip sync is
Yeah.
not that
Let me
good.
say
It's
what
not
I have
that
to say.
good.
I know this
I'm
is your
just
least favorite.
saying.
This is not my least favorite tonight, but this lip sync was where it really said, okay, so Ginger definitely deserved to win this lip sync. There was no ifs, ands, or buts.
For
Bosco
sure.
didn't do anything. I'm so sorry if you like Bosco. I know that she had a disadvantage, but even with the disadvantage, you can't tell me she couldn't do anything. And I had people being like, well, her outfit was really heavy. And I was like, she picked what she wanted to wear. That's not an excuse either, girl. Like, take that shit out. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry. And so here we have Ginger Minj finally actually do a reveal. And because she didn't really do one in the first lip sync. And so she did it against Bosco. She did a partial reveal. And I was like, okay, like that was one of the most exciting things of it. but Ginger Minj knew every single like extra like little ad lib that is in that song and shit. And Bosco did too, but the energy level was as low as Ginger Minj's first lip sync with Kerri, and I was like, I think that part might have been my least favorite lip sync of the night was Bosco specifically. Raise Your Glass was pretty rough, but I'm gonna give her above Kerri Colby and Ginger Minj's first one, but barely.
I think this is the worst of the night for sure. But again, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's move on because Bosco gets eliminated, and that takes us to our second round of the semifinal lip syncs, which leaves us with a battle of the twinks. We have Lydia and Jorgeous, who will be rematching again to Shakira's Whenever, Whenever. And this definitely was my favorite lip sync of the night, for sure. Lydia clearly is a fan of the song. She's not dressed in the probably like the most flattering way for this song, but I think she makes it work for her. But George's for me in this lip sync was just there's such a different side I feel like we got to see of her in this that we haven't really got to see really ever before because a lot of it's like boom cat cat that she usually does. And this was very kind of much slower, a lot more sensual, and like she was really giving it to me with like her ponytail up in the air doing her body rolls and then like that slow reveal she did to my favorite line in the song. I watched this like 3 or 4 times before I moved on. I was like, okay. Like at this point, I was like, okay, Georges is giving it to me. Georges is giving me the versatility I need that shows me like she is really growing as a performer. This was really good. This might be no, it probably my second favorite lip sync maybe of the season. I don't think it's better than Aja, but I do think just because Ginger isn't in it and it is a little bit lower than the Miley Cyrus lip sync for me. So I'd say this might be my third favorite or my second favorite lip sync of the season. Like this one was really good to me. I really liked it, and I really felt like George's kind of really came into her own in this performance. Like this was hot.
So whenever, wherever being the last song, it was over for Lydia the moment that it happened, and they were like, "Oh, Lydia knows like Shakira. She loves Shakira. That's like her girl." And I was like, "Okay." And the song starts, and I'm like, "Okay, so Georges is going to wreck her." I already know this going into this because Georges is Latina. She has this fire in her. It's something. It really is something specific about like when you really resonate with your Latina like energy kind of thing with Shakira. Like, there's really something there. You know, as like a Latina person, like you kind of have this like I need to do this right because it's gonna really fuck up if I don't do this correctly, right? So it's like a pride thing almost becomes on the line with this. But you know what? You know what? It was like Georges is giving us one of the most beautifully executed lip syncs of all time, in my opinion, right? She's just doing such an amazing job. And then when the camera would go to Lydia, I was getting so frustrated because Lydia was not giving sex. She was not giving beauty. She was not giving any kind of grace or anything like that. And I wanted to wring her neck myself. This made me so upset. I was like, Shakira fan where it took I didn't believe it until I saw the picture of her Shakira birthday cake. Like I needed that proof because I really didn't believe it. I did not. You could have I wouldn't have believed you. Like Jesus Christ had came down and told me she a fan. I was like, proof. I need proof. Like I was not believing anyone for this. The way she did this song just felt very disrespectful to me. I was like, tweet out an apology. You know what? You made Alyssa do it for the Snatch game. Make Lydia do it for this lip sync because this is unacceptable, baby. I'm not here for it. No
That's
way in
Lydia's
hell.
style, though. That's literally her
No.
style. Like, I'm not defending her, but I'm just saying that's literally Lydia's style is like to just kind of do chaotic. Like they were saying, like Mirage has a different performance every single time. That's Lydia. Like, I don't think Lydia would be able to choreograph a moment in a lip sync to save her life at this point. And that's very
Um.
clear. Like she just kind of does whatever, whenever, and maybe that's why she likes the
Um.
song.
But like,
I
yeah,
mean,
like
no. Let me tell you, this Lydia lip sync made me so upset. I was like, why did you let her move on? Why was she here? This is exactly why I didn't want her in the merge. I didn't think she deserved it. This made me feel like she didn't deserve it in the slightest. I was like, this is some Cynthia level bad bullshit I don't want to see right now. God damn it. Like,
Don't judge the little white twink on
no,
your
I am
standards
no, no,
of
no, 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 no,
Shakira.
no,
She's
no.
not
No, it's
Shakira.
not
She'll
about
never be
Shakira.
Shakira.
It's not about Shakira. It's about adapting in any way, shape, or form to the song. And I tell you, she was trying to give sex at one point, and it looked like she was literally raising her ass off of a porta potty kind of thing. And that was all I got from her. I was like, this can't be real. Like, this cannot be. Like, if you're this big of a fan, how are you not at least trying to go at least something smooth? It was like watching a person who had no rhythm. And I'm not saying like I am the most rhythmic person ever or whatever, but there wasn't even an attempt made. I don't think. I was like, there was no fluidity here. It looked like the Tin Man needed to be oiled again, girl. I was like, someone get her a life raft. Like, she's drowning. I don't know what's going on here. And I don't want to hear any excuses about her outfit or anything like that, because that had nothing to do with it. It was just the performance was so bad. It was so terrible. And maybe it's amplified by the fact that Jorgeous is giving us the best performance of the night by far. But I was so frustrated the whole time because I was like, don't show me Lydia. Just don't show me Lydia because she doesn't deserve the screen and it's embarrassing.
Not you
And
asking them to skew the lip sync edit. How dare
I
you?
sure was. I
How
sure was
dare
at this
you?
point. And I was like, wait, you're gonna skew those other ones, but you're not gonna skew this one? And I have to watch part of it? I was like,
She was
girl,
fine. She
no,
wasn't
she
that
wasn't.
bad.
This
She
was
was
the worst
fine.
interpretation of this song I have ever seen in my
This is the
life.
only interpretation of the song that I've ever seen in my entire life, so I was fine with it. I'm okay with it. But
You saw
George's
Jorgeous.
is giving me. George's gave me
This is the
so
best lip sync
much
of the
life.
night by
Yeah,
far, and
for sure.
they could have just crowned it right here, baby. I was like, okay, Jorgeous, you deserve
They
your
really
song.
should have.
Congratulations. You said you wanted to do it by lip syncs. You want to go by lip syncs. That's the lip sync. Congratulations.
Well, all that means here is that Lydia B. Kollins is eliminated, and
Thank
Jorgeous
God.
will now move on to the finals, which means it's her versus Ginger Minj. Final two, I think we were all expecting for quite some time, and they will be lip syncing to the Weather Girls. It's Raining Men, and I'm not really surprised at all that we get an old school campy song for the final song. It just feels like it was just meant to be in these sort of situations, just because of any song. It feels like they've learned their lesson from the whole Jinx versus Monet thing, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we can't give like a current like Katy Perry Swish Swish song, right? Like that doesn't make any sense to the edit. But we can throw out like kind of an older song that we can kind of camp up a little bit, so that way when it inevitably boils down to the queen that's taking it seriously and giving us a fantastic lip sync, and then another queen that's going the campy route, eh, and and I'll let you guess who is who. I know it's a shock surprise when you find out who it is, but I definitely preferred Georges in this final lip sync. I think she really proved for me tonight that she has like she had three very different, I feel like, lip syncs for the most part. You kind of say the first and the third are kind of similar, but I do think she kind of took a very different route in the third one than she did in the first one. I think she really has shown her versatility. The second lip sync alone to Shakira was, again, the best lip sync of the night. Really kind of I'm probably gonna have to really think about it if it's really better than Aja's, because Aja's is just like hands down like an amazing, just kind of like cacti cack lip sync, you know what I mean? But like
And to a
Georges
bad
gave us
song.
like to a bad song, and Georges gave us like performance art to an amazing like classic. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
the more I'm thinking about it, maybe I'm like maybe Georges gave me my favorite lip sync of the season there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to we'll have to think about it, but like yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Georges did fine, or Ginger did fine. I will say in her defense, she wasn't as campy tonight as she could have until this song. Like she went full camp on this song, and I'm like, she did hold back in the first couple. I will give her that. but like it's very clear this is not a situation where the winner is going to be crowned based off the lip sync. Because if it was based off the lip sync, Jorgeous hands down won this whole season here. But you know, we love it when it's based on the entire season, or sorry, yeah, based on lip sync and the asterisks and the entire season. So you know, is what it is. Jack, what
I
were your thoughts on the final
mean,
lip sync?
so this lip sync wasn't bad. It was wow. It was a decent lip sync. It just was very like since the winner was premeditated, it was very like, oh, is this what we're doing? This how we're doing this?
I
You
thought it was
know?
also rough they didn't let them change into another outfit. Like
Well, I
usually
also
they
wanted
let
that
them do,
too.
right? Usually they let them do like there's no reveals here. They're all down to their basically their bra and panties at this point. So they have nothing to reveal to, so we're not gonna get like a moment, you know what I mean? So at least in that aspect.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things about this lip sync was just the fact that I did I know that this is clearly set up for Ginger. We all knew that it was set up for Ginger. No one was shocked by this, right? Like this season was rigged. Many of the seasons have been rigged recently. So it's just been really messy. Um I think part of the problem is we're if we're gonna rig it so hard, you kind of have to at least make an attempt at making us believe that the rigging might not be completely for sure 100% like given, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't feel that, and I don't remember. Did RuPaul even say based on the final lip sync and how you did in the season,
I don't
or
think he
I?
did.
She didn't say that. No, she didn't say that because I remember specifically when she said it last season as a crutch to be able to give it to Angeria over Roxxxy
Hmm.
in the most rigged seasons before this one
Yep.
came out, right?
And
Like,
noticeably season 7 when they did it to give the
Jinx.
disclaimer as to why we're giving it to Jinx over Monet.
Hmm. And I don't remember if they did it during season 8. I don't remember that at
I
all.
don't know if they needed to.
I mean, it really doesn't matter,
Yeah, it
right?
really doesn't matter. We kind of
I
know at
mean,
this point, but
right, like every season's been rigged for a while now, and it's just unfortunate because it's like I really wish it wasn't. I really wish you would just
mhm.
let it happen naturally. But the problem is they want to focus on what's good for their image or who's going to represent well. And I think it's a slap in the face to say that Georges wouldn't represent well, but their choice was Ginger Minj. From the beginning, they cast Ginger Minj, and then they said, "Okay, let's get a couple other girls that we can get on the season that'll give us something to worry about. Someone who's going to give competition." And that was the end of their planning for this rigging to like really like figure out a way to like make it look like it could be close.
Mhm.
And after that, nothing else mattered to them, and that was a huge problem, clearly.
Well, like I was kind of telling you, in our discussions, I really do feel like the reason why Georges was pushed as hard as she was is because they really felt like she probably should have deserved an All Star or a finalist spot in All Stars 9. And this bringing her back immediately to give her a finalist spot, basically, which is what they did, felt like it was a way to be like, here you go, now you could say that you're a finalist, kind of thing, which is different than saying like you're just a member of the cast, which ultimately every other girl was in the in All Stars 9, other than Vanjie and Roxxxy, you could say they were finalists there, or really, kind of any most other seasons, I would say, in some situation. I do think there is a degree of when someone is declared a finalist, a true finalist, versus making it to the finale and getting cut there. Like there is a difference between top two and third, fourth. Um, whether or not it's deserved or whatnot. I do kind of feel like in this situation, I probably would have crowned Jorgeous. I get why Ginger won. I do think that she is a strong queen. I don't think that it's even really fair to diminish any of her talents because of that. But like, what this really showed is that like, number one, I really want to like the Lollapalooza,
but it's just very clear that it's just another tool for them that they could use to just kind of edit however they want to. And if they could literally make Hanaconda win against Serena Summers, then they could do whatever they want, right? So, like, as much as I love the Lollapalooza, it's just another tool production is using to just kind of not make the competition fair, just to do whatever they want to do. And those are the things that I feel like are going to really hurt this show moving forward if they continue trends like this because like we've said multiple times here, Ginger did not need the help that she needed to get to this point. And I do feel a lot for her because let's be real, she probably really is the rightful winner of this season. But because she was pushed so much, it doesn't feel natural, so the win just feels icky at the end of the day. And like even in the 11th hour, literally during the SmackDown, she gets to pick every song she performs, and she does so against again the arguably the most weakest lip syncer left in the remaining group. It's very much so like Susie Toots' path in the Lollapalooza season 17. You could say what you
Yeah,
want, I don't care. But Susie Toot had the easiest path to the end. And this was a very much so, very reminiscent of that
it was
to
a very
me.
much rigged for one girl specifically, and they did that, and
And
it just it feels like you said, it feels fake and it feels bad because she could have made it to the end and maybe she is the rightful
mhm,
winner, but we'll never really know because we'll never really get to see that. In her
yep,
challenges, she did well in everything she did, right?
yep,
And yes, part of it was her being pushed, but she was talented. She just is that talented.
mhm,
And I'm not trying to discredit her. It's just even she knows and everyone else knows that like she was clearly favored. That's not her fault. It's not
mhm.
her fault at all.
That's not
It
her
makes me
fault at all.
nervous of any season that comes up, and I'm like, do I even want my faves to go on Drag Race to get like, you know, do I want them to be on Drag Race All Stars after their season? Maybe not, because if they're not the one girl that they're gonna rig it for, what's the point? Like,
Mhm,
unless you need the exposure or something. Like, we've seen a lot of girls who have had a lot of runs, and I also want to say here that I think it kind of feels like the only person who could say they were a finalist is Jorgeous because she was up there with Ginger Minj. And it kind of feels like everyone else is just eighth through third place. Like it's not even like you can call the one girl's fifth through eighth and the other girl's three and four. No, I don't see it that way because if you're gonna rig all of the lip syncs, that doesn't mean that you actually made that high up in the list. It's just you were given that spot at this point. So it feels gross for everyone. Every single
mhm.
person feels like they didn't even get the chance to really earn their spot anywhere, right? Like it's
Right.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm very worried for kind of All Stars 11 at this point, especially given things we know about the
Oh
cast
yeah,
and the brackets. Which again, we'll release a video in the next coming days about our future All Stars wish list that was recorded prior to the cast spoilers being announced, and then we'll likely do a future All Stars 11 deep dive at some point if we still feel like talking about this Brig Dash show. But Jack, again, I'm worried, but because like at least the preliminary rounds that have already been filmed during All Stars 10's release, they're like everything is already filmed while they, or at least the preliminary round has been filmed prior to this. They don't know this backlash. They don't know the fact that people are hating. Absolutely hated this. Like they don't know that it's literally the worst episode they've ever released of the show prior to that, leading up to this point. Do you think they're going to have enough time to kind of take in the negative fan reception, or do you think they even care that we have this negative reception towards it? Because like people are speaking out a lot against it, and I'm just wondering if you think they're going to try to do anything to kind of alter the perception of the fairness of this show at all whatsoever.
I unfortunately do not see that happening, and I don't want to be rude to anyone, but it must be said that I think without them choosing different producers, and I think they really just need to get a new producer and stuff all up in there because clearly what's going on is just nonsense. It's boring. It's tired. We've all seen it before. We don't need to continue down this route. No one wants it. Like the only people who like it are the girls who are somehow delusional enough, and by that I mean stupid enough to believe that none of this was rigged. And if that's you, baby, you know, bless her heart, kind of thing. Like there's no way that anyone can actually truly believe this without having like a lack of knowledge on anything. It feels like because at this point, come on now, like there's no way that you could believe for any second of time that this wasn't rigged. This and the way it's going, it doesn't look like it's gonna be continuing forever. I really think we're going to see at some point just the complete end of Drag Race at this rate. Like, you know, the I would say the international seasons are feeling much better because they're not as, you know, it's not like, sure, we might not always agree with every decision on Drag Race, but it does not feel like it's completely just immediately given to someone without any regard of like what actually happens in the episode. But here, it's. I mean, what is this? 4 seasons in a row now, at least, of All Stars. I don't think season 6 was completely like thought that. I don't think season 6 was going to be Kylie at first. Like, I really don't think Sonique was going to win at first. Like, I don't think anyone thought that the season was rigged for her because it clearly was not.
It seems like six might have been actually, now if I'm like looking at this and going back, six might have been actually rigged for Ginger. And then they realized they couldn't crown Ginger again because they had two other people that were better than her.
Hmm.
And or well, not better than her necessarily in the competition because they gave Ginger, like, Ginger's good. Like, let's not like beat around the bush. Ginger is a great queen, but like her fan reception, unfortunately, is the thing that's always held her back, and that's what exactly happened to her the last time. Is that they got her to the end, she performed well. I need to rewatch season 6. I definitely don't think, as far as I'm concerned, there was as much blatant favoritism on that season. I know there's definitely cases of it. I don't think that there was just as much blatant favoritism during season 6, but like
Right.
it felt like at least to me, season 6 felt like a breath of fresh air because it felt like, okay, maybe they are going into a realm where they're actually going to maybe start judging somewhat fairly and based off the competition, which is why Kylie felt like Kylie won because of that. But also, if you kind of really think about it in a lot of ways, it could be a situation where they brought Kylie back to get the win because, again, the whole situation where a lot of people are saying that she only won because she's trans, and we need to show a lot of love to our trans girls because Rue has, an image that she needs to rebound from. So that's why Kylie was kind of given the win, which I think undermines Kylie a little bit. But also at the same time too, if you really kind of think about it, it does kind of make sense because I mean, like, Ginger could just be there as like a backup in case that whatever reason, like maybe Kylie didn't perform to their expectations or they weren't able to naturally get her to the end. I don't know. But it just like it's just very. I don't know. Like there's just it's just all it's all too much, and I think really the moral of the story that I think we really need to learn here, and we really should have learned this last season from when Roxxxy wasn't crowned, and that's if production really wants something, then production's gonna get it. Like this is
Well,
clearly a very highly produced drama that's kind of disfigured as a reality competition show. And it's just very unfortunate that we all kind of need to just kind of, I think, kind of come to terms to that. Because a lot of people are taking this show very seriously. They were lashing out at people. I'm like, it's not worth it. It's really not, y'all. Like, just come to terms that that sometimes they're able to fall back into the facade like All Star 6 and maybe show like they could possibly have a fair competition, but at the end of the day, what we were watching is not entirely the truth at all. And it's really a shame that
no.
in a lot of ways, the queens are the ones that are being exploited from this, even though they are seeing such benefits, such as like being given a platform or bigger booking fees. But it's not always the queen's fault that things are happening this way. Like we said here, like multiple times this season, like one of the things we've said multiple times, Ginger did not crown herself, nor did she pick or choose to win any of the challenges, or did she pick any of the challenges that she faced. That's just like to undermine Ginger. I think in that way is very not warranted. That's very rude, and
to say she's not talented again is also extremely crazy. So again, if you are hating the results, send the hate again to MTV, Paramount Plus, Viacom, Wow Plus, because it's their decisions. It's literally it's them. It's not the queens. And to kind of piggyback on that, I really want to jump into kind of the more current drama that we've seen, which it hasn't been released to the public just yet. I think it's released on Monday. But I mean, we can kind of talk about it because Roxxxy made it very public. She made a statement about the All Stars finale here, which I kind of want to talk about here because she goes, "No offense to any winner, y'all were great, but what the hell is going on with not wanting to crown a Latina? Like, it's to the point where I'm pissed because we've deserved it just as much, if not more. If this is the game we're playing, this is the third season in a row we've had first Rue in a row. What the hell? Like, I really want to talk about this, Jack, because I know that's a platform that you've been on a lot here, and I'm not Latina. I can't speak from that perspective. I can only speak to someone that's also a person of color, that's also in a very marginalized, um, group as well too. But like the thing is, in America, it is a situation where it is historically black or white to be a girl kind of another ethnicity in this sort of situation, especially I think in the times that we're living in, especially being a Latina queen, like it would have been such a huge statement if last season, if Roxy would have won, if if Jules would have won, even though I don't know if she's ready for the platform, it would have been a big statement had Jules won. I think it would have been an even bigger statement had they just given it to Jorgeous because I think Jorgeous deserved the win, or even just given a double crowning. Because I mean, like at this point, I don't think any of us ex- expected Ginger to lose. It was just kind of a situation was whether or not Jorgeous was going to get a crown too. And I think, I mean, at this point, it's very clear you're going to bring Jorgeous back at some point. She's going to win. But like, just I think the time I think this would have been a point where everyone would have been okay with a double crown because, like, at this point, the season is already like it is what it is. You know what I mean? But like,
This was
Georges
the
at least
time to
felt
do
like
that.
she deserved it. Georges felt like she deserved it based off her performance in the finale, and Ginger all season long. So if it's a situation where we could go ahead and get Monet into the Hall of Fame based off her finale performance, because let's be real, that's exactly what happened in All Stars 4. They didn't want to crown another white queen again, so that's why Trinity won along with Monet. And Trinity did best all season long and then lost kind of in the finale, whereas Monet didn't do as great all season long, but she killed the finale. And that's legitimately the inverse. Otherwise, I would say Georges did better than Monet did in retrospect. So I don't see why. I still don't understand why Roxy they just didn't do a double crowning last season for the charity season because that would have made so much more sense because it's charity and they don't have to give these girls the prize money. But like, if you're not gonna do it that season, okay, do it this season. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm very confused. Um, Jack, what are your thoughts here?
So once again, Roxy being the voice of reason, being correct, being everything that we all want her to be because she is that. She's got the most valid points possible. We have had so many seasons where people are just immediately written off because they're Latina. How many people can say that, can truly say, um, if you're Latina or not, that Puerto Rican queens have ever been treated fairly on this show? That's not a thing you can say. Any kind of time that we've had a Latina queen, the only times I can think of that we've had like a outwardly Latina person do well is quite literally only Bianca Del Rio.
Mhm.
Um, there is something to be said about Violet Chachki is also Latina, but that was never a big um statement of hers. I feel like it was never really something to talk about with her. They never, or at least they never made it on the show as something for her, right? And I feel like
Nor does she talk about it to this day, really, at all. Like the fact that
really correct.
people are talking about it, honestly, as a talking point. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I didn't know, and I wouldn't have known if you guys didn't bring that up here, because she doesn't say
Well,
anything about it. So,
and people, this is one of the things that really annoys me because Ginger Minj is Puerto Rican, but no one sees her as a Puerto Rican queen, right? Like no one sees that because she wasn't like born in Puerto Rico. You know, she was born in Florida. She's from Florida. And yes, there is a higher uh, population of Latina people there, but Georgia, or I'm sorry, not Georgia, Ginger, it doesn't speak out like about those things. It's very
Hmm.
similar uh, to the Violet Chachki thing. So really, the only person we've ever had is Bianca Del Rio, and this is now 27 seasons, and we've only had one Latina winner. And we know that a lot of these rig seasons have been like, we need a white winner, we need a black winner, we need a trans winner, kind of thing. Like, is sometimes is what like gets pushed as people are saying these are the things they need the most. But if you're going to rig seasons and you're going to do this far, why not at least give us a double crowning here? I think maybe the reason here is that Ginger may get more hate if it's double crowning. People are like, why don't you just give it to Jorgeous? But she's gonna get the hate either way. They know that. They know that from what they showed us, right? So they really could have made that executive decision to have done a taping of a double crowning and possibly use that. And I just think that they really missed out on that decision that they could have gone with that would have really not made it like perfect, not made it like the best thing ever, but it would have felt better if we had that double crowning. What I think what I think Roxy is really getting at here is that it's never been a important to the show to ever have a Latina winner. It's never been important for them to show Puerto Rican queens specifically doing well. I mean, if you look at all of the Puerto Rican queens who have ever been on the show, I don't know if we've ever truly had a Puerto Rican finalist. Like we've technically had Alexis Mateo be third place on season 3, but she didn't make it to the top 2 lip sync, right?
Hmm.
If you look at especially these older seasons when they have Puerto Rican queens, it was like it
Well,
kind of felt like
Nina Flowers was runner up.
right.
We
Nina
can't
Nina
forget
Flowers
Nina.
is
We
the
can't forget
only
Nina.
time, and that is the first season, mind you, the
Right.
very first season. And I'm not shading anyone, but what Nina was doing was light years ahead of what a lot of the other girls on that cast were doing at that time. I'm
Oh,
not
for
trying to
sure.
hate on anyone, but so it was just like a natural, she should be there kind of thing. Like, but when you really look at it, you're like, who have they treated well? Who from Puerto Rico has ever like really gotten the respect they deserve? Has gotten far in the competition? And I'm not saying that someone should just make it far because they're being Latina, but if you're going to rig things and give people like free wins essentially, like you really have to think about how that's let's think about how this impacts other people and the views of queens there, because even on this season, a lot of the queens who are um who have this Latina background aren't necessarily represented extremely well. Alyssa, Coco, Denali, I mean, or I'm sorry, I said Coco, not Cuckoo, I believe. Like when you look
Yeah,
at
you guys
that,
say Coco.
when you look at that bracket alone, the only reason Cuckoo made it is because she was pushed by the other girls,
Hmm.
right? She never won a challenge. She was never even really that close to the top in terms of them ever considering it. People felt like she was robbed of the one performance challenge. They didn't want anything to do with Denali. They said Denali's too hard, too good of a lip syncer. Let's not do it. Cuckoo just felt like a Chugi just felt like the perfect filler for them, right? And you look at the group breakdowns, you're like, Georges was really the only one that had a chance, like out of the Latina queens, it felt like. And that sucks. That truly sucks. And I know people were upset that there wasn't a lot of representation or diversity in terms of like a lot of black contestants this season. And that was a big point when they first revealed it. And I'm not taking away from that. I'm not saying that we need less black winners, less trans winners, less white winners. I just think people should be deservedly given the crown. And it's clear that they don't want to ever give the crown to a Latina person. Like, it's not happening. Like, at some point, you could get there. At some point, we could have it. They just refuse to give us any kind of chance for a Latina person to make it. And it's discouraging. And I don't blame Roxy, because I've been saying this too. Like, it just feels like, what's the point? Because when Roxy wasn't given her win that she won last season, I remember just being like, this really fucking sucks. It really hurts me. I'm so tired. And like, I can't get anything, is what it felt like. Like, I can't get just one time where like a Latina girl does extremely well just on her own, like, volition without it having to be rigged for her or anything. Because she did do that. Like, she was extremely good. She deserved her spot. And she definitely won that last lip sync. And she won the whole season. Don't care what your opinion is. She clearly deserved the win, but they
Mhm.
would never give that to her, and that sucks. Like, it's like, at this point it's just like, that's not going to happen, so we don't really care to like watch. And I kind of I don't it kind of makes me not want to watch it. I love this show so much, but it's really difficult to keep watching this over and over and over again. And I'm not saying that every Latina runner up should win. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what Roxy's saying either. It's just it's sending a very clear message, and it has been for a while, that when it comes to who they're deciding who needs to win, the idea of a Latino winning has never been important to them. And in fact, it feels the opposite, where they're specifically not trying to crown a Latino winner.
If I could
I think
kind of,
that's about it.
oh, if I could piggyback
No.
on that conversation, it's kind of bringing me back a lot to the days where Jackie, you're probably far too young for this, but back when America's Next Top Model was airing, and someone mentioned it in the comments the other day, and it really sparked a lot of like maybe rewind back to old days, because like the way that show was structured, and I don't know if anybody's gonna go back and rewatch it. I kind of actually want to go back and kind of do a rewatch, just because like my channel is like really based on America's Next Top Model. That's kind of like my one of my favorite TV shows. I still kind of like when I'm listing off of like my favorite TV shows of whatever. Like I'll be like Survivor, Big Brother, America's Next Top Model, Drag Race. And I'm like, wait, why am I throwing America's Next Top Model in there? It's because like it played like a huge role in my life. But anyway, like where I'm going with this is like they clearly also had a thing going around, and it wasn't as prevalent because the internet wasn't as big as far as things like that. We didn't have things like Twitter and Instagram and everything like that. Like we didn't have as the social media wasn't as huge back in the day. So like these things kind of got around on like message boards, and like I was definitely a message board queen. I was doing my thing and whatnot back in the day. So like I would stay up on my drama, and one of the things that was big about them is the fact that like it was very clear like winners in a lot of ways were predetermined because they had the whole CoverGirl contract that they had to do at the end. Like it was very clear production. Kind of went in with a couple girls that they were really looking at, and then there was a few and it was clear that they were tiered, and that's very clearly what is happening on this. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because notoriously on America's Next Top Model, it was this running gag that every third season had to be won by a black girl. Like it was like a thing. We all were like, all right, season three came, or like season nine came along, right? We're like, all right, black girl's probably gonna win this. Because why? Because season three, a black girl won. Season six, a black girl won. And then what? Season nine, a black girl won. Then what happened? Season 12, a black girl won. Okay, like are we not following trends here at this point, right? Okay. Obviously, the last black girl that they gave it to was season 14. But one other thing that was happening here as well is that there was a very few representations of anybody else that was not either white or black in the winner circle. And we very rarely got those girls outside of those races in any more than maybe one a season, right? So when Jasleen won season 8, that was huge. Like that was so big for the Latina community, and the fact that like she's I don't know if she still models today, but I know for a very long time Jasleen was seen as like a very huge pillar in the reality TV community for Latino representation because she took the crown. And if you look throughout the rest of like the history of top model, I think Marvin Cortez got like second place in one of them. But like other than maybe Nile, because Nile I think is of Middle Eastern descent, we never had anybody else that was either white or black in the winner circle. So it's like it's very much so bringing it back to kind of like the politics of what kind of just America really is at the end of the day. Like I
hate to kind of say it, but I do think that in a lot of ways, any race outside of those that are white or black are extremely devalued in American culture today whatsoever. So the fact that, especially when it felt like, especially modern Drag Race, since it turned to MTV, something I felt like I noticed is that felt like they were giving a lot more Latino representation in the cast, but then like these queens were all early outs. Geneva Carr, um, just off the top of my head, was like the first girl that I was like, okay, like they gave her some props and then they kicked her out like the first chance they could. There's just a lot of things where it feels like they're going in a direction, and then they just kind of, it feels like it's more for show than it is to actually like make an impact. And I think that's all Roxxxy wants, is just to know that, we're being noticed, if she's being noticed, that her people are being noticed. And I do feel for everybody in your community, because I'm like, I don't understand why this is happening this way. I don't understand why the show has to kind of go this route. It feels in a lot of ways like it's really the only show that we have for LGBT representation right now, in a lot of ways that is as mainstream as it is. And for it to feel this produced and this kind of like fake and disingenuine, like it like in a lot of ways, like Roxy was saying, like she feels like the things in our community have really kind of reversed and gone like a different direction. I feel that way completely, entirely. Like I don't feel like this show is doing what it can, especially in the political climate that we're in today, to give us really the platform that puts us in a positive light, that's going to really make this, you know, the ultimate war. I wouldn't say war, but the ultimate, you know, but yeah, because I mean, it kind of is a war right now at this point with the way that people are kind of treating people in our community. It's going to make it so much harder on us as a community whatsoever. And I hate that this is kind of where we're at this point in society. That like the one show that we kind of have that we can kind of that we've kind of relied on for the last few years is kind of taking this kind of turn, and it's really unfortunate. I don't. It feels like maybe I'm taking a lot from this, and kind of putting it on this, but it just feels like the show is doing absolutely nothing to work on the platform that they have to make things better for us whatsoever. So I don't know. I'm with Roxy. I'm with you. There's a lot of change that really kind of needs to happen, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get it, because I'm pretty sure that dollar sign from Paramount Plus is too good coin in RuPaul's pocket. So um, I don't know. Personally, I'm ready to leave all this behind. But Jack, did you have any final words here on the season?
Um, you know, the season is over, and all I can say is thank God. Now I don't have to talk about it too much anymore. I only have to talk about it when I want to. Like this season was overall not a positive experience. The first two brackets were fine, even if the second bracket especially had a lot of the rigging that the third bracket eventually has too. But it's uh, this the outcome is what everyone thought it was going to be before the show started, during the show. Like, the only time at which we ever thought that it couldn't be was during bracket 1 and 2 episodes, where we're like, there are some girls who could really, you know, size up against this, and it, of course, didn't matter. So,
It never matters, but hopefully, maybe one day it will matter, Jack. Maybe, probably not. Have we
no,
jumped the
probably not.
shark? I think we've jumped the shark. Like
I don't
it's
know what
felt
that
like this
means.
way for it. So it's when it's famously when like a TV show kind of like runs out of ideas, and they've hit that point where it's like, they should have stopped by now. Famously, it's when Fonz and I believe Family Ties, one of those old school sitcoms, where he like does like a jet ski jump over a shark in a pool because they ran out of like plot points or like things to do. And that's kind of like
like the epitome of like when your show is just done for and you should just end it. Like Snatch Game, kind of like Snatch Game needs to end. Like this whole show, kind of, I feel like it just needs to be really rebuilt from the ground up, or we just need to find like a show that's willing to do what the show's doing here, but on a more honest level. Even though we know like it's never going to be honest, like at least pretend. Dear Lord, at least give us the illusion that this thing's fair. Uh, but um, yeah, I would say maybe like in the next few weeks we might be doing like maybe a rank the All Star season. So hopefully that'll be the last time we have to talk about it for a while, so we can just get that video out and never have to talk about All Star 10 for a moment. But we have some other positive things on the horizon, and that's where I'm going to kind of lean into. So hopefully those will turn out well, because I can't wait to see how those turn out.
I can't wait.
Well, and hopefully y'all can't either, because you made it this far into this podcast. I don't even know how long this one is. It's probably the longest one of the season, but it definitely deserves it. But again, thank you so much for listening, and make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and comment below on your overall rating of All Stars 10. Do you hate it as much as we do? Do you hate it as much as everybody on IMDb does? Make sure to let us know here in the comments below. And also make sure to catch future content coming for the ongoing Drag Race France All-Stars, as well as the upcoming Drag Race Philippines Slasian Royale, which I cannot wait for. Oh my god, please let Philippines save us all. But until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster Quackerjack, this is Renegade signing out. But make sure to keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye.